Welcome to our video on the fight for a living wage in the United States. For many Americans, a full-time job does not provide enough income to cover basic expenses, let alone afford luxuries. The struggle for a living wage has a long history, dating back to the early 20th century. Let's take a look at the major events and movements that have shaped this ongoing struggle. In the early 1900s, workers across the United States began to organize and demand better wages and working conditions. In 1938, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Fair Labor Standards Act, which established a minimum wage of 25 cents per hour. Over the years, the minimum wage has increased, but it has not kept up with the cost of living. Many workers today earn just $7.25 an hour, the federal minimum wage, which has not been raised since 2009. This wage is not enough to cover basic expenses such as rent, food, and healthcare. In response, workers have organized and demanded a living wage, which would allow them to cover basic expenses and support themselves and their families. The movement for a living wage gained momentum in the 2010s, with fast food workers and other low-wage workers organizing strikes and protests across the country. The Fight for $15 movement, which began in 2012, called for a $15 minimum wage and gained support from labor unions and progressive politicians. Some states and cities have raised their minimum wage to $15 or higher, but many workers continue to struggle with low wages and inadequate benefits. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed the vulnerabilities of low-wage workers, many of whom are essential workers on the front lines of the crisis. As we move forward, it is important to remember the history of the fight for a living wage and the importance of workers' rights. The labor movement has always been about more than just wages and benefits. It is about dignity, respect, and the right to a decent standard of living. By supporting workers and advocating for a living wage, we can create a more just and equitable society for all. Thank you for watching our video on the fight for a living wage in the United States. Be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos on labor and workers' rights.